welcome once again to Toy Soldiers Old School. This is episode 62. My working title is A Devil's Bargain. My name is Diane Morrison. I'm known online as Sable Aradia. I'm the creator of the Toy Soldiers Saga, and I am one of the game masters for tonight's game. I understand that Aaron intends to seize control back from me at some point tonight. I play Celine Wintermist. She is the captain of the Voidchaser, which is an Avalonian Imperial Navy Marine Corps or Imperial Marine Corps ship. And she is an idealistic young priestess who joined the Imperial forces in order to see the universe and maybe help some people out along the way. My and her pronouns are she or they. And we'll move over to my left and we'll go to Rowan. Oh.
Didn't know she had gained a boyfriend and or two, and life is good. Although there is a war, and that is disturbing on so many ways. Her pronouns are she, her, and so are mine.
Awesome. Apparently I had you muted for a bunch of that. I'm very sorry. I don't know if you want to repeat any of it.
That's
nah.
right.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, right. I was doing some recording earlier. When I do recording, I shut off everything but the mic on the webcam, so I apologize for that. All right, but you guys have heard the spiel. That's Rowan. She plays Vongvin Star Song, a druid. All right, and that's the TLDR. Moving beneath you, let's go to Madrimlian.
Hello, I'm Siobhan the Writer, also known to be playing the part of Lieutenant Lilas Madrimlian. And don't call me Lilas. I should change it to I play the part of Don't Call Me Lilas, Lieutenant Lilas Madrimlian. He's an altruistic elf who joined the Avalonian Imperial Navy out of family obligations. Has been conscripted to the Marines because of the bug suits. Has no problems with that. And was planning on an intelligence division for the Navy and is now thinking more of a black ops for the Marine Corps.
And pronouns?
My pronouns are she, her. Madrimlians are he, they.
Perfect.
And knock it off, Daz. I'm not a tattletale.
All right, and we'll move over to Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris. I play Arian. He is the OM of the group, the original Marine, unlike all these latecomers. He used to be an enlisted guy, still thinks like a sergeant, still thinks more like a commoner than a nobleman. And he sees it as his job to keep this group of youngsters alive, and our pronouns are he, him.
Awesome. And we'll move on to Blake.
I am Blake. I'll be playing the part of Crowley. He is a Pheenock, a feline-like race of my own creation. He's had some trials and tribulations in life, and then he joined the Navy with his friend Yasma, and been having grand adventures looking for more. Our pronouns are he, him.
Awesome. And Dawn.
Hi, I'm Dawn. I play Lieutenant Yasma Snowwind. I was an orphan, and then I joined the Navy with my friend Crowley, and found out I had some family and a dad and sisters and whatnot, and been through some adventures, and it's been a great time. Our pronouns are she, her.
And last but not least, Aaron.
Hi, my name's Aaron. I play the part of Ruavel Sunfall, who is destined in the future to become the father of the protagonist of the Toy Soldier Saga. Right? Assuming he doesn't screw up his relationship with his girlfriend so far.
So far, she's okay. She hasn't killed you yet.
She hasn't killed him yet. All right. He's a Moon Knight. All right. So far, I haven't been playing him under any character class because I didn't know what character class I wanted to put him under.
No, it's cool that you made a decision. I think that kind of reflects Ruvel's character. He's kind of been adrift, not really sure what he wants to do with himself, and now he's figured it out.
Now he's figured it out. Right? He's dedicated himself to defense of the moon and her priestesses.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Right? Along with others like druids and things like that. Right? But anyways, our pronouns are he, they.
Awesome. All right, so when we last left, it was a couple of weeks ago because we've been busy with, the Game of Tones and whatnot. And by the way, if you're here to play the Game of Tones, you're still welcome to do that. I am still collecting word counts. I will not be shouting out good job, but good job, and, by all means, keep writing. That's perfectly fine. If you're finding it interesting to listen to the game while you're casually getting some writing done, we're good with that. We're good with lurkers. It's all good. We do something unique on this channel. We have a chat crew. These are people who have spent, there's a channel point reward, 100,000 channel points. You get to play a character. Technically, they're an NPC, but it's more like a semi-PC, and they often get called on to do things actively in the game as well. I think we've got mostly our chat crew here so far tonight, which doesn't surprise me because of everything else going on. So I see Daz in the chat, and I see DM Stretch, and they are both part of the chat crew. So I will be addressing them directly as we continue.
Clockwocket's here.
Oh, hey, Clockwocket. Good to see you.
Crocheting some feathers.
Awesome.
Nice.
Sounds like fun. Yeah.
So we are missing
Shadow Wocket, because she's currently undead in the Game of Tones. She fell with House Mollusca. Yeah.
So we are missing at least 4 of our chat crew.
Chat crew, yep. Well, Bob is probably exhausted. I don't know where Sparkles is. Probably the same thing. He could be lurking.
No, work.
Oh, work. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. But either way. Anyway. Where the heck were we? I think we were just about, we were still in the wormhole, weren't we?
Nope.
We just come out.
We had just come out and taken out the 2 ships.
That's right.
We're watching it.
Yeah, no worries, Clockwocket. I get you. Yeah. All right. So, yes, you took out the 2 ships that could have warned them. So I guess now, of course, the plan is
make like hell for Evergleam, I think.
Yep, make like hell for Evergleam. The war has begun. There is a massive fleet on the way to invade Evergleam. The characters are trying to warn them. So, whoosh, you guys give it your frickin' all. I wonder how long it takes to get across the system if you give it your all. Of course, we have, like, a character who could crush us all as the pilot, apparently, so.
My girlfriend.
Yeah, turn us into squishy bits.
Jeez. Nobody's ever asked her what her last name is.
Yes.
No.
I have it written down.
Yalgo Rimmon?
Spider
or
Singer.
Night Star or whatever. What?
Spider Singer.
Spider Singer. Okay. Alright, so you guys burn like hell for Evergleam. Talasia.
Yep.
I don't think I'm going to have anything else happen until you guys get there.
Okay.
I don't foresee other things. There's no reliable place where I think that you're likely to cross the paths of any Orcish patrol ships or advanced scouts, considering how far ahead you know, and the fact that, well, okay, it's not about far ahead, it's more like you're not stopping anywhere, right? And you can't like blockade space. That's one thing about it. It's really difficult. You have to kind of treat it like the islands need to be defended, which are the planets, right? So planets and wormholes are your natural choke points. If they can't stop you there, then they're probably not going to stop you till you get to the planet you're going for. So you guys see it after, I think, about 10 days if you burn hard.
Yep. Steam hard for Evergreen for 10 days.
Yep. Well, eventually somebody yells, Planet Ho!
Just out of curiosity, while we're making the crossing, I'm sure that Arian's very tactical and strategic mind is hard at work.
Mm-hmm.
So the Starship ships are growing, right? They're overgrowing, all that stuff.
Yep.
Has the Avalonian Navy come up with the linked ship base idea yet?
I don't think they have.
Because that'd be a good way to cover the wormholes. And that's basically where Arian's mind would be going, would be like, wow, we really need to figure out some way to fortify these things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Planet Ho. Let's stop there for a quick break.
Shore leave.
Yeah.
No, Charlie, we're on duty. We gotta save this army.
All right, well, Celine makes directly for Evergleam then.
Yeah.
Because that'll get out the information fastest. We could stop on Arianrod, which is the moon of Telesia, but we're not going to. We've not been back here since the beginning of the campaign, have we?
Nope.
Nope.
This is where the campaign started.
Do we pass Perido?
Yeah.
It's on the other side of the
It's on
system
the other
right
side
now.
of the system.
Okay, so I just was going to say, if we do, we probably want to drop a launch or something to go warn them as well. But if it's on the other side of the system, never mind.
Yeah.
However, Madriman does remind the captain of the other plan while we're in booking.
Actually, correction. No, it can't possibly be on the other side of the system. Hold on. No, it wouldn't be, because it was near the wormhole. It was almost at perigee to the wormhole when you guys hit it on the way out, right?
It
Why
was
they chose
off
that- that's the
perigee,
convoy.
just off like a month.
Like a month off perigee. So basically it
Yeah.
would have crossed to the other side of the wormhole now in its orbit,
Yeah.
right? And it's it's one of the
You're on.
outer planets, so it's got seasons that work according to the tree, right? But its actual seasons based on its rotation are, in the neighborhood of like Uranus,
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's still in.
It's still pretty close to the wormhole, actually.
Yeah.
Yes,
They might go for that first.
Arian would recommend dropping especially given his position.
Yeah.
He would recommend dropping at least a launch or something to head that way to warn them.
Good idea. Yeah, I think you're right. And then Alessander says, I'll go. He says, but I'll need someone to come with me because I can't pilot 24 hours, he says. We are making forward as fast as we can, right? He says. Right. Who else is available?
I can't, says Xerxes. If I don't make it to Evergleam.
Yeah, no, understandable.
Yes, your duty does take you there. Absolutely, she says.
Didn't we pick up a spare helmsman from your mom's ship?
Yeah, we got a spare helmsman.
The spare helmsman volunteers.
I was going to suggest Songbird. Elena Songbird.
You know what? That's a good idea, too. So we'll have Elena Songbird be the third person, and that gives them enough to go, and off they go.
Yep.
Yeah, because Von Ben can't volunteer because The ship's druid is already leaving.
Right.
Does he take the bottled
At
up
least
ghost
be
with
one
him?
of them there.
Oh yes, right. I forgot about the bottled up ghost. You guys interrogate the bottled up ghost while you were gone, while you were in the, traveling across the system.
Yep.
No, I got
Duly
nothing
noted,
to ask
Stretch.
it. I had nothing to ask it, so.
Okay, so not at this time. You guys have other matters on your mind, so you'll worry about it later. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's not going anywhere, says Celine. And it's a ghost. It has all the time in the world, she says. We can wait.
And for elves.
Yes, exactly. They can wait. I'm sure that we have bigger problems right now.
We do.
Well, Captain says, Crowley, you know what? We may believe he has all the time in the world, but in his current state, he's uncomfortable.
Yes.
So, maybe not right now, but soon enough, we need to release him.
Well, you're not wrong. And when we finish dealing with these more immediate pressing matters, then yes, I agree with you, she says.
Yes,
Okay.
Daz, we are going to talk to it about the location of certain places. Or what it remembers of them, because things move in space.
Yep, so you guys burn for the planet anyway.
Yep.
Now, I think we agreed that in order for certain things to progress, they have to get here before the fleet arrives, right?
Right.
So, yes, you seem to have beat it. You were not blockaded. Thank the gods, says Celine. We did make it in time.
Yeah.
Let's get a warning to them as fast as we can, says Cersei's.
Right, she says. Take her down to Evergleam.
Avalana taking her down.
When Cersei's.
Should we let your father know what's going on too?
Are there any special approach instructions that Mariama's going to need? I remember it took us a special way to get in the last time.
You're thinking of Glimmerfell.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Evergleam, no, but you can go to the Royal Palace on it in Evergleam.
Okay.
Secretly assembled the space cart, says Daz. Yep. You guys make a landing. It's relatively anticlimactic after all that you guys have been through, because you're, like, we're desperate to get the warning in, but everything looks fine here right now.
Yeah.
That's because they haven't heard anything yet.
That's right. So I take it you guys make it immediately for the palace, or what's that?
What?
What's that the Vonvin said?
This is distressingly normal considering what we know.
Well, it's about to not be. Let's go make it not normal, she says.
Yeah, have Mariama land at the palace.
Okay.
Fly the Imperial flag, he tells them.
Celine nods. As Prince Cersei says, she says.
Run up the flags for the Imperial House and for the House of Evergleam.
Oh, now shit changes. They see the Imperial flag and the flag of Evergleam, and fucking an escort shows up. Yeah, it's a quiet landing. A little too quiet, so stretch me up. Anyway, it's all, their activity obviously due to the rank you're showing, but they see you down in the Imperial landing area. Since you guys don't actually, wait, no, you're a you're a Corvette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frigate.
You're a frigate.
Frigate.
Oh, you're a frigate. You're not even. Okay,
frigate.
yeah. Right. Yes, so you actually can land. Man of Wars and above cannot. So. Yep. you guys land. People come out to greet you, of course. Welcome back, Your Highness, and welcome to the Imperial family, which I've just been informed about, says the... I beg your pardon. They say, bowing to the princesses.
My father, is he here in Evergleam or is he in Glimmerfell?
Which would be easier for what you have planned, dear.
Well, he's got to report to him, so
yeah,
it'd be easier if he were here.
Yeah. Okay, well, he is actually here, Your Highness, he says.
Thank you. Could you have somebody show me to him?
Right this way, sir. Yep. They take you there.
I'll leave it to you, Captain, to report to the Navy.
I'll go do that, she says. All right.
What do you want us to do, says Ravel.
What did Ravel say?
What do you want us to do?
She says, okay, we need to report to the Navy. We need to report here. She says we should probably send someone to Glimmerfell.
I'm sure my father will, says Xerxes.
I could probably shorten things a little and just send a message to my uncle, says London.
Good idea, she says. Yes, let's... she says we should be rallying forces is what we should be doing. How best do you think we should go about that? She says we're going to have to talk to the local military as well as the Avalonian Imperial military forces here. She says we need as many ships in the air as we can get.
Then, when you report to the naval, maybe Arian should report to the Marines.
Or I was going to ask, is there a beacon system that can be lit or something like that?
Yes, there is, of course, a magical beacon system. Yes, there is. Of course. Because, of course, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and by your authority, can we light it, says Xerxes?
Yes.
Just to...
I believe
rather by your authority, he says to Yasmin.
Well, that's true. It's her call, she says, looking at Yasmin. You're the senior princess here, she says.
I'm sorry, repeat the question?
Can we light the beacons that summon the armies?
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Thank you, he says. Make that happen, he says to...
Have a lot of boom, off goes Arian in his bug suit.
Yep. Celine, yeah, she says, report back here in 2 hours, she says.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go report to the Navy, she says.
Well, Gus is a tree, right?
Yep.
Gus tree, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So she'll stand beside Gus, and she'll send a message to her uncle and explain while she's at it. She'll be, I'm standing near Gus. He's a tree person.
Right.
If you wanted to discuss this in person.
Yeah, you can travel via plants.
That's right.
Plus, you're on a starseed ship.
Yeah, living starseeds count for travel via plant.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll remind people that I'm very tired today, and you may have to help me out, right? Obviously, you're looking for direction from Celine as to what you should be doing. She gives it to you.
Right.
Right? I just can't think of all the different things all at once. The threads that
we
need
go
to be
and
pulled.
start informing people.
That's exactly.
Avalana, I have the comm.
You have the comm. Yeah. Voom, everybody heads off to inform people. The machinery starts to move.
Okay.
Right. Before long, we have soldiers in the streets of the local military, and a curfew is imposed. Obviously. Right. There are aerial cavalry that are assigned to start doing some scouting. And keep an eye out.
There go the Kelnassar.
No, not Kelnassar.
That's a different planet.
This planet.
Okay.
Yes, they're...
Pegasus riders.
Yep, Pegasus riders here. Yep. So off they go to do that. The Navy starts moving ships around, obviously. This is actually a very slow process. Amassing an army takes a time.
Yes. In sometime in this time
Gotcha,
is
Stretch.
where
He says Bosun's doing
Madrimlian,
bosun things, making sure that things run as smoothly as possible. Perfect.
Madrimlian is approached by a changeling with a cane.
Okay.
Female. Pretty, young. Right? Older than you, but then again, she's a changeling, so that's not surprising.
Yeah.
She says, "Forgive me, sir."
How can I help?
She says, "I'm supposed to deliver this to a Lilas Madrimlian." She says,
I'll take it.
yeah, she hands a letter over.
Yep.
And wait for a response.
Yeah. I open it. What does the letter say?
Kindest regards. If it suits your purpose and you have the time to spare, I would like to meet with you and your crew at my abode. My minion knows where that is. Pleasant evening, G.
I look at the young lady.
They made me do it, man. She says.
Who did?
The Thieves Guild, I think.
And who is G?
Grandfather? Everyone calls him grandfather.
All right. Well, I will need to discuss this with my captain first before we make any decisions.
Don't suppose you could spare some change, could you? I haven't eaten in like 2 days.
Come aboard. We'll take you to the galley and get you fed.
Okay.
Because apparently, if we do decide to go, you're our guide anyway. So.
That's true. That's why I was hoping to get some food over there. She says if I was going to wait for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Corporal Dazzlecat. Would you mind entertaining our guest in the meantime? Thank you.
Yep, so Daz says, facepalm, intelligence officer is such a noob at these sorts of proceedings. Oh, I mean, yes, Avalon. Oh, sure.
See, Madrimlian doesn't have to know everything. He just has to know who does.
Yeah, this is while you're all preparing to the ship and stuff, so this is after all the reports have been given and everything like that.
Yeah. Captain? I think we need to call a briefing of the senior officers.
Okay.
I just got an interesting missive, I could say.
Very well. She directs, you know, a meeting of the senior officers then.
Yep.
Okay.
I have just received a missive from a G.
Gee, who could that be? Says Ravel.
That's what I want to know too.
Right.
So, the messenger was told to wait for a reply, but we've been invited to attend this person at his abode.
Okay, so some random person comes up to you, gives you a letter.
Random person gives you a letter, says, given to it.
It was addressed to me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Why'd they
actually,
address it to you and not the captain?
I don't know. He hands the letter over so people can read it.
This doesn't look suspicious at all, Cicely.
I know. That's why I figured.
What did you do with this
Bonvin declines
messenger?
to touch that, and she
The
goes, I
messen-
don't suppose you thought to check it for poison, did you?
No, I did not. I should have. I have the messenger in the galley with, or in the mess, with Dazzlecat.
That doesn't mean much.
Weed and banana rum for the guest. No.
Nice. Yep. Just in case people are listening on audio, Dazzlecat quickly decides to break out the good stuff, sets the guest at a table, and sends Magpie with Quill to guide her to go down in the holds and get some weed and banana rum for the guest. Yeah. Brilliant.
That's not necessarily bad choices if you want them to tell you stuff.
Yeah, she's a young changeling. Little older than me by years, I believe. Or at least appearance.
Hard to tell with changelings, she says.
That's hard to tell.
Yeah.
She's got big ears. That's tough. No.
Well, she says, okay, so this is obviously something shady.
That's what I thought. Oh, good. Purple
Perfect.
Nimble and Opal Arbor just showed up for reporting for duty. You're going to the hold.
Get some weed and some banana rum for your guest. That's all you know.
Because it seems shady, that's why I placed Daz on guard duty. To entertain our guest.
I will point out that just because somebody is criminally inclined with everything else that's going on today does not necessarily mean that they are not patriotic.
That is true.
That is a good point. They could be offering us aid, but want to keep it on the down low. And frankly, I don't really care where that aid comes from right now. Do you? She says, looking around.
No, we need all the aid we can get with the Fomorians on the run, or on the...
You guys know you're
Case.
outnumbered, by the way, right? The
Oh,
fact
God.
is they don't have enough here to match the fleet that you've got. They're amassing it, but it's a question as to whether or not they'll get here in time.
Yeah.
You guys are tactical enough and close enough to the source of command with your various
They
ranks
have
that you
more
know
than
that.
3 to 1 on us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Of course, they've lost both their high commanders, so
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we have both their high command.
which we probably should turn over, as Dazzlecat pointed out.
Probably we ought to
What's that?
turn over our prisoners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Roosevelt will thank them for
Mhm.
their honor and say that I'm going to take you to the naval base here. And I'll be sure to inform High Command there of the honor and dignity that you've shown. Instance, your parole, sirs, that you won't draw your axes on the way or try to escape.
As you prefer, Haraktra.
Very well, come along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He'll take them to the base.
Now you guys turn them over. That actually goes fairly quickly, too.
Yeah. Well, he does point out that they have been nothing but honorable. Right? They have not tried to escape. They have not tried to overthrow the crew. Right? Release the Goblin prisoners. Right? Or anything like that. They've done, and they've had basically free reign of the ship. You know, they've just been honorable.
Good to know.
He would like it if we would continue that honorable tradition with them.
Well, very welcome with us, says one of the Marines present there. So,
good luck, sir. I hope they ransom you back.
I'm very sorry. I am putting the chips away, but I was being crunchy and I did not hear you.
He said, good luck, sir. I hope they ransom you back.
I'll remember you. He says you've treated us well. Sunfall, was it?
Sunfall. And I hope to make that a good name someday.
He says.
It says right now it's associated with an effete prat of a rear admiral.
Snorts.
He says. And I don't trust his honor.
Understood, he says.
He says. But I hope to make it a worthy name someday.
He says, well, we'll remember you. He says, thank you for treating us with honor.
Yep, reaches out a hand and clasps his arm. And
So, quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Evergleam is a major metropolis, right?
Yes, it is.
Would it be possible to slip off base to pick up magic items and stuff if we wanted to spend money?
Yes.
Absolutely. This is the place where you can buy magic items.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm going to catch up briefly with the chat crew because they're doing important things here. Right? Yeah. First of all, Corporal Nimlin Opal Arbor reporting for duty. Daz, Quill, and I did not do it. Without even knowing what it was. I love it. Dazzlecat says, Magpie, Nimlin, quick update. Quickly decides to break out the good stuff, sets the guest at the table, sends down Nimlin with Quill to guide her to go down in the holds and get some weed and banana rum for the guest. The guest is a sus individual who might be working for the Thieves Guild.
Though apparently not willingly.
Yeah.
Apparently. Ostensibly.
Yeah.
So they claim.
Yeah, Nimlin says, oh, okay, that seems dangerous, but very well. Getting the secret stash that, Dazzlecat found, that the rest of us don't know that she has found. Right?
75 light edits for lapping.
Oh, good job.
You said you weren't going to do that.
I did, didn't I? Still good job, because I was in the middle of talking.
She wasn't.
Barbarossa Blackfinger resorting to duty.
Nice, welcome. Okay, and then Dazzlecat told Nimlin, and grab my best deck of cards from our room, and a fistful of coins. Gotcha, I'll get Soroka ants too, says Nimlin. Perfect. Please be fast. Moves quickly and loudly, cane going clunk clunk, says Nibble.
Yep.
Yep. In the meantime, offers the guests some tea and finger sandwiches. Right. So Stretch wants to know he wrote up a PF1 stat block for the Vindicator's Great Bow, and will get Aaron to check it over in his next old GM stream.
Okay, that'll be Friday.
Not Tuesday? No, I guess we're writing, aren't we? You didn't hear me, did you?
What's that?
You didn't. Yeah, that's what I thought. You didn't hear me. You were off in the chat.
What's that?
Not Tuesday.
Oh yeah, Tuesday.
I figured maybe I might pop in on your stream since it'll be the last one before the final battle stream.
Yep, and the cutoff is right at the end of it.
Yep, that's right too.
Nope.
No, it's not.
So
actually,
the cutoff for us.
Nope.
Nope.
No, right. No, we can go till midnight.
Yep,
That's
cutoff
right.
is when Nano ends in your time zone. That's
Right.
why there's no current countdown on Satrium's site.
Right. Okay, go praise on.
Yeah, if we get into combat, then Nimmelin will need to know what kind of bane they have. Yes. I think it's a dexterity penalty. Am I right?
That's what it was, yes.
Yeah. What did I say? -2?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Right, yeah, Barbarossa, we need tea and finger sandwiches. Stats, says Dazzlecat. Bosun Oleander asks if he should take what crew are not busy and start putting them through dry drills. Make sure they're on their A game. Yes, Celine thinks that's an excellent plan. The captain says, please do that. Thank you. Yeah, Magpie asks, is Quill's appraisal or insight bonus, may I ask you to homebrew that because Daz seems to have that covered? Okay. Barbarossa wonders why elves eat fingers, eyes his hand, then buries them under his pits and eyes Daz suspiciously. No. Dazzlecat says, you make sandwiches, then cut off the crusts and cut them into 3 so they look fancy.
Is who a changeling as well, Magpie?
Our guest?
Yes, your guest is a changeling and it's a she.
Yeah.
Yep.
A female, not a elf.
Yeah. With unusually big ears for a changeling. So.
Quick question.
Yes.
This city, is it like cut into racial quadrants?
It does sort of have like, it sort of
Conglomerations.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, where they would congregate most of a certain race.
Yes. Yeah, it's even divided by like, you know, the Elfar are in one area and the Shi are in another. You know, it's primarily an elven city, but there are many other races here as well. Like, there's a lot of elves. They're probably the dominant demographic, but of course, being a metropolis, it hardly has only elves.
Oh, and she has blue hair. I should tell you guys that too. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Okay, so we're able to run to town briefly to look for a few items?
Yep, absolutely. You've had probably a couple days by this point.
Okay, well, as soon as I was able, I would have been looking up some goblin merchants.
Okay.
Because there's something in particular I'm looking for.
There are no goblins here. Goblins are the enemy.
Oh, really?
We're at war with the goblin.
No, we're at war with the... Yeah, okay.
Fomorian Empire.
Fomorian Empire.
Yeah, I just figured they employed them. You know.
Yes, Sable will let Nimmelin buy stuff between sessions. No problem.
Okay,
I'm actually
next
pretty...
best thing.
I'm actually pretty cavalier with equipment, guys. I don't care. Honestly.
You can get a black market, though. You might be able to find a goblin in the black market.
That's possible. Yeah.
Okay,
find
I'll
the
look
black
for
market.
the gray market.
Gray market?
Shall we call it? Well, no, black market, but they now call it the gray market.
Okay, you have to make
But yeah.
either knowledge, local, or diplomacy check.
Okay.
Hello, Eli. Good to see you. Lurks and works. Perfect. Okay, this exchange in the chat crew is hilarious. Okay.
What's that?
So
17.
Okay, I'm
17?
gonna finish up the chat crew thing here as well. Okay, Stretch quietly whispers in Barbarossa's ear, "They're not actual figures, it's just the shape of them, don't worry." With a wry grin. Says, says Bosun Oleander. Barbarossa says to Daz, "Sounds like a lot of work for bread and Phil. I'm not going to make fancy sandwiches when bread, meat, lard, and fire works well." Daz says, "Barbarossa, if you don't make fancy sandwiches for our fancy guest, I will make sandwiches out of you." And Barbarossa replies to that, "If you make sandwiches out of me, it'll be the last meal they eat. I'm a bloated old gnome filled with enough powder to make even a starving man go boom." Yeah. Okay, so yes, Nimmelin returns with all the things that Daz directed. Daz says, "Barbarossa, you are assigned to the kitchen, so you had better do your job."
She is a corporal.
She is.
Yep, she does have the right to command you. Yep.
Yeah, she is actually an NCO.
Yeah, Barbarossa says, "Fine, one flame broiled meat sandwich it is. I'll even cut the crust off for you so it looks nice." Oh, hopefully an IRL friend will drop in. That's nice, Magpie.
Did you reply to your message about drills? Yes, she did. She said, yes, that's a good idea, Stretch.
Yes. By all means, the captain encouraged you to do that and thanked you for a good suggestion. Yep. Yep. So
yeah, so when they get back to where the guest is, she looks scared.
With all these armed and military looking people.
What's all the yelling about? She says to Daz.
Turns to guest. "Sorry for the help. Why don't we enjoy some more rustic fare?" Pours the guest some banana rum and rolls up some weed.
Okay. I don't know if I should drink. I haven't eaten in 2 days.
Yeah, duly noted, Barbarossa. Don't worry, shit will change. You're the one that volunteered for the kitchen initially, though, I believe. Hands over the Soroka. Let's try these.
Okay. Oh, these are good.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what it is, actually. Arian? Yeah, Nimmelin says, "Oh, that always sucks. We got sandwiches coming soon, though." In the meantime, let's finish up what Crowley was doing. PCs first.
Yeah.
So you were running that, so go with it.
Okay, you managed to find somebody who will direct you to somebody who will direct you to somebody, and so on until you finally find a guy who says, "So, what are you looking for?"
If you're talking, you're muted, Blake.
You're muted, Blake.
I explained to him what I'm looking for, which is one of those air-powered guns that we've been trying to figure out.
Well, you'd have to talk to the grandfather about something like that. Since those things would be highly contraband around here, don't you think?
Well, I figured at the right price, anything can be found.
This is true. It's true for the right price. Says anything can be found. I'll tell you what, he says. You got a pretty good reputation around here, Crowley. He says. This is from your time in Peridot.
Mm-hmm.
He says. And the underworld has heard of you. He says, get your people to come talk to the grandfather. We'll see what we can do.
All right. I'll make that happen.
Excellent. We'll see you there.
See you there. Thank you very much. Give him a few coins for his time.
Thank you kindly.
And stealthily sneak off.
Yep, just sort of casually walk off into the crowd. You're talking to a guy in a meat vendor. He hands you a couple of kebabs.
Excellent.
You hand him the
Start
money.
munching on those on my way back towards the ship and whatnot.
Yep.
Figuring out how I'm gonna convince everyone that we should go to this meeting.
Yep.
Yeah. In the meantime, what's other people doing? Ariam was looking for things too.
Yeah, this is the past couple of days, so this happens prior to the current conversation in the chat. But by all means, carry on, chat crew, because I will. This is good. That way, it'll be ready to go, and I'll catch up on that.
She says to Dazzlecat, I don't know much about cards.
There, and you asked what I was doing. I went and bought an amulet of natural armor +2.
Amulet of natural armor +2?
Yep.
Yeah, you can find that in town. It's a pretty common item.
Put it on your shark.
It's okay. We can teach you, says Daz. Yeah.
Okay, she says. She smiles. I don't really have any friends, she says.
So, since we're there, I will catch up on the chat crew here. Daz turns to guests. Sorry, okay, no, I said that already. Okay, yeah. A bit of under siege there, maybe, says Stretch. Yeah, that's sort of what I'm thinking. Don't worry, you're going to get an opportunity right quick here. The only problem is there, Barbarossa, you don't often stick around consistently in the game enough that we can do things with your character, right? I kind of want you to have an opportunity to show off your awesome gunslingerness, but you're never there for the full fight, right? So I would like to, try to do something about that, but,
Encourage you to stick around more if you can.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Yeah. Barbarossa comes back with at least 5 sandwiches that are flayus? Oh, that are flame broiled, dripping with fat, and filled with meat and some vegetable. However, it appears that he also made the effort to cut it into thirds and cut the crusts off.
That looks delicious, she says.
And then, yeah, Daz invited them to play cards. Does a simple shuffle that still somehow looks very skilled.
Yeah, she eats the sandwiches, just scarfs them. Like somebody who hasn't eaten in days. She eats 4 of the 5 sandwiches.
Yeah, as he's never made tea before, Barbarossa makes tea pretty strong when he's sent off to make some tea.
Oh, she seems to like that too.
Immediately decides to teach the guest rummy instead of poker. It will have to be the gentler, more evasive approach. Yeah. Barbarossa says, yeah, the problem is the game starts when I'm getting off work. I know, I'm sorry. So the first 30 minutes are when I'm driving, and after that I'm normally really tired. Yeah. Welcome back, Magpie. Stretch says catches one of the crew actually loading the gun they're crewing, gets a sharp slap around the head. Put those munitions back now. I said dry fucking drill. Crew wanders off in a meander with ears ringing, comes back very sheepishly after returning the munitions. I'm not awake, honest bunny mama, says Atoru. Hello, Atoru. We will pretend you are not here. You are welcome to write while we are gaming if you want to. But yes. You don't have to. You can just lurk and relax. It is all good. You should sleep, but I understand about not being able to sleep, so I'm not going to give you shit for that. I will urge you to try. Right? But, yeah, I mean, you see the bags under these eyes? This is not for lack of trying, okay? Yeah. Anyway. This is why we do drills. I'm not having mistakes in a live situation. Is that clear? Says Bosun Oleander. Barbarossa has never made a cup of tea before in his life, though he has made strong coffee. He proceeds to grind up a few leaves that he found and put them into a pot of boiling water before pouring that into a kettle, waiting a few minutes and bringing that over to his guest. He is not entirely sure he used tea leaves.
Okay, she'll drink it.
Yeah. Okay, so in the meantime, by this time we've decided we're going to talk to this person. So this whole crew of fucking
people descends on the room.
Yeah.
Okay. She looks really nervous. She holds tightly to her cane with both hands.
It's okay, says Celine. We're not here to hurt you at all, she says.
I didn't think you were fattening me up to eat me or anything, she says.
That's one I haven't heard before, she says.
You haven't worked with thieves guilds before, have you?
No, I have not, as a matter of fact, she says. But that's all right, she says. My name is Celine Wintermiss, she says. And you are? Joni? Jody. Nice to meet you. Amaranth.
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 Amaranth. A-M-E-R-A-N-D. Amaranth.
Amaranth. Okay. Nice to meet you, she says.
Thank you. They made me do it. I don't work for the Thieves Guild. She says. They blackmailed me.
Are you still in danger of being blackmailed, she says?
I don't know.
What did they blackmail you with?
If I told you that, then you could blackmail me with it.
Well, I can't help you fix it if I don't know, she says.
I don't think I can fix it.
Okay. Fair enough, she says. Well, I don't want to interrupt your lunch. This looks good, says
Oh,
Celine.
no, I'm all done eating.
Oh, okay.
We were going to play cards, but, did you guys want to go?
I'd like to know who G is, she says, before we do. Grandfather. That sounds like a Thieves Guild leadership title.
Yep, she says.
Then yes, of course, we will meet with Grandfather, she says.
Okay.
London looks at her and says, you know, the Navy takes changelings too, and we're always looking for a few good folk.
I'm
at least 3 squares and some
cripple,
pay.
she says. She shrugs. Starts hobbling off.
Doesn't mean you can't man a flag post or flip a burger. Just saying.
It's true. 3 squares a day, she says. And that may not... Well, I don't know. Do you have any magical abilities, she says?
No, not really, no.
Okay. It's harder to find a job when you have an injury or a disability, she says.
She goes, I do. I have magical abilities. She says, yes, I do.
Then there's always helm work. You learn to fly one of these, she says.
I know how to fly.
Always a shortage of vases for helms.
Well, that is a highly coveted position, and it pays really well.
Not very good at it.
People are always in short supply, and as you can see, we're gearing up for some trouble, she says. It might be a very good opportunity to get in on the ground floor.
Get shot at by...
That's true. You do get shot at for a living occasionally, she says.
But you don't get blackmailed, and you got a warm place to sleep every night and food on the table.
Well, I wouldn't
money
say
in your
warm,
pocket.
says Ravel, but it's a place to sleep.
That's true. Warmth varies. It is dry, usually, she says.
She shrugs. Let me think about it.
You bet.
Yeah. Good night, Atoru. Good. I'm good for you. Thank you for trying to sleep. If you have, my philosophy is, if I'm not asleep in half an hour, if I've been in the bed, I'm obviously not going to sleep. And there's no point. Research proves that there's no point in forcing yourself to try to sleep when you can't like that, because then you learn you don't like the bed is for sleeping, right? When you go there, you go to bed. If you're not going to bed, you're training yourself bad habits. So get up, do something quietly for a while in dim light if you can, and then try going back to bed in an hour or so. That's my advice. Most of the time it works out pretty well for me. November it doesn't tend to.
Yep.
Good luck.
And you can listen to the story while you close your eyes. That's
There
what we
you
used
go.
to do with the kids all the time.
There you go.
Yeah.
I've seen the same research. This sounds like the cry of a chronic insomniac, so I sympathize.
Yeah.
Clock walking apparently too. Yeah. Yeah, alright.
Well, should I take you there then?
Sure, just give me a moment, she says. Corporal, may I speak with you for a minute? Takes Dazzlecat aside. Says, what am I doing wrong here? I saw you shake your head at me. And I do appreciate the instruction. I don't know the etiquette, she says.
I think she was saying that she didn't find anything out.
Right, okay. Really dangerous going with this person. Yeah, I'm aware, she says, but that's why we're going as a group. I don't think he's about to come to us. What would be the... You think this person is not going to be swayed? Yeah, okay. What do you suggest that we do then? It's been pointed out that just because somebody is involved in the criminal element does not mean they don't want to lend assistance to the cause. If there's an opportunity for that, I should take it, regardless of the risk, she says. What would be a better approach?
Oh, there we go. Really, the moment I reached, they started telling everything. Points dried up. And I didn't want to step back. Oh,
I'm not sure who is speaking, and I'm not sure if they intended to be heard.
Nope.
sorry,
So,
I didn't
Okay.
know I wasn't muted. My
That's
shoulder
okay.
was doing something.
Yeah, that's why I was checking. Whoever's talking is very quiet. I was just making sure I wasn't missing anything. No worries. Okay, be direct in what way? Don't play with the poor messenger? Sure, I was just going to go with them. She says, do you think that her act is genuine? Because it seems a little much to me. Welcome back, Barbarossa. No worries. Question, do any of the ship's weapons have cannon-like recoil? Asked Stretch. No, well, they're still
yes,
catapults
there are
and stuff at
catapults.
this point.
Catapults have recoil.
There are a couple of actual
So
gunpowder weapons occasionally, but they tend to be not in wide use because of the wormholes.
Yep. And they also tend to be pretty unreliable.
Yeah, at the moment anyway.
Gnomes and goblins make reliable firearms. That's it.
May Quill and I roll an insight for that thing? I was about to ask earlier, but then rather than you go there. Yeah, sure. I don't know what you mean by an insight though. What exactly you're trying to find out. Dazzlecat says it's based on real life, probably as a trained beggar, but the loyalty is extreme, so can't be swayed. What should Barbarossa be doing? Back in the kitchen, or can he help with the dry test with Stretch? Yeah, I'm sure that since food is no longer required, he's probably being recruited by Stretch, whether he wants to be or not at this point. But yep, he's welcome to participate in the drills. It's probably a good idea. Oh, if our guess was genuine, that was supposed to be, but then y'all got here. Yeah, sure, go ahead and roll. How do you do that? Roll for an insight. Is that
Sense
a warlock
motive.
power? Sense motive? Okay.
Sense motive. Dice is 19. She seems genuine to you. Just a simple person with not a lot of experience.
I think I'm going to officially turn the game over to you at this point, dear, because I don't really know what you're doing, so I'm just going to relax into play mode.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if other people do this, but we do this all the time with our games, so.
Barbarossa's hoping to make the gun crew. He's trying to impress the bosun and make the gun crew.
Awesome. Yes, get me the fuck out of the kitchen. You know, there's too many people in the kitchen, actually, so.
There's way too many people in the kitchen.
Crowley says to the captain, I do believe this meeting will be advantageous to us.
Okay. You know something I don't?
Well, Crowley will take the captain off to the side and kind of whisper to her, Captain, I have some connections to the underworld that have told me that it's probably in my best interest anyway, for what I'm looking for, to talk to this fellow. And I believe it'd be advantageous for all of us to have those type of connections, especially at this point in time, because it's the unofficial ear. It's where you're going to hear the real dirt.
All right, she says, what were you looking for?
Some of those goblin weapons.
Ah, maybe that's why they reached out to us then. Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
Germalian is wary of actually approaching Jody about entering her mind to get information, because sometimes there are blocks, but he also doesn't want to freak her out and think that he's looking for personal information that we could use to blackmail her. That's why he hasn't offered that.
Stretch catches another crewman with their foot just behind the catapult, calls halt, walks up to the crewman and says, and asks, you don't like your foot, do you? If you want it removed, maybe have a chat with our ship's surgeon, but do not get your blood all over my deck or you're cleaning it. Looking more worried than serious, though. Crewman's face goes pale with realization, adjusts his foot. Thank you, bosun sir, with genuine visible relief. Then the bosun welcomes Barbarossa and tells him to step in line, keeps an eye on him for what he can do. Lieutenant Mad, sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness and permission, says Daz. Barbarossa snaps to attention, stands to the bosun with a slightly crooked toothed smile and asks, where do you want me to begin? He asks, should I roll something?
Yeah,
I'm going
you can
off
roll an
camera for
attack
just
roll.
a few guys, so just FYI.
You make an attack roll just to see how well you do lining up the catapult, or a proficiency engineer if you have that.
Stretch is handing that to the GM.
18. He rolls an 18, so he is quite impressive on the catapult there, Stretch. In the meantime, you guys are heading over to where the young woman is taking you. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, I don't see another option here, right? It's not like this guy's going to come and meet us. If we want to talk to him, we're going to have to go.
Okay. She takes you through town, into the seedier areas of town by the docks. And into a bar.
We'll wear some more common clothes when we do, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah, no, our uniforms.
Before we go, who has the con?
Yeah, we'll
stand
say
down the
Xerxes.
ship.
Yeah, or we can stand down the ship temporarily. Well, no, because they're running drills actively.
Right.
So
then give the con to the bosun.
The bosun has the con.
Okay.
Bosun Oleander, you have the con.
Bosun, a word before we depart. I'm not leaving without backup guaranteed.
Good idea.
So, I'd like to mind link with you.
You are always very forward with that.
Well, I'd rather let them know exactly what's going on before they start going, what the hell is this person doing in my head?
Good point. Daz is certain that this faction under Grandfather might be the scouting arm of a big organization. Bosun Oleander gives a smile and a nod. Well done. This is in response to Barbarossa's work. Gives a few pointers to keep things a little tighter, watches reloading and general weapon handling, as well as skill at shooting. Yep, it sounds like you've impressed the Bosun. So, he doesn't give the smile and the nod well done a lot, so. It's funny because he's a bit of a harsher bosun than he eventually ends up being as a captain.
Captain, he becomes a really mellow captain.
Well, that's because he recognized the job, right? The job is different.
Yeah, that makes sense. The bosun keeps discipline. The captain is to be adored.
Yeah, the captain is like the parent.
Nope. You're coming along, Daz.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to need your insight. Crowley's too. Let's go. To tromp, 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 down to the Thieves Guild, or wherever the fuck we're going.
Well, you are taken into a seedy tavern called the Salty Octopus.
Okay.
All right. And then she passes words with the bartender, who hands her a key, which she opens a door and says, "We're going into the basement." Waits to see if anybody balks.
Nope, I already made my decision.
Okay.
Yep.
Then opens the door and starts heading down.
Arian just kind of looms like he does when we're in these situations. Yeah, okay, duly noted about Nimlin. Helps to gather the lunch mess and then sits down to research scrying used for comms. Quill shows up and says, incoming. Yeah, I assume on physical therapy and rest. So yeah, and Dazzlecat says, this feels like home. The basement, it was like rolls eyes. So classic.
Yeah, the basement is set up in what looks like a great lounge. Right? It's probably 40 by 40 feet. All right. 10-foot ceiling or so.
Okay.
All right. And there's tables and couches and chairs and a bar. And at the end of the bar is a guy who could be a full-blooded ogre for all you know. Right? He does stand about 9 or 10 feet tall. All right. And sitting beside him is a kindly-looking older changeling.
Well, before we go downstairs, Madrumlin is going to trigger his detect psionics.
Okay.
And he's going to maintain focus on it.
Okay.
This way, if there are any psionics around...
It also detects magic.
Barbarossa listens to the bosun before mentally taking in all the advice, before prepping second test volley, almost naturally taking in the new knowledge given by the bosun. He's got a knack for it. Daz says, is there a hookah?
Yes. On one of the tables. Actually, on a couple of the tables, there are hookahs. "My friends," he says with a smile. "So good that you could join me."
Well met, says Celine.
Come, sit.
Yeah, she'll come and sit down.
Yeah, he has a table brought over so that people can sit around where he is and sit at the bar or whatever, right? "I'm so pleased to finally meet you all."
I'm afraid we know almost nothing about you, and you seem to know a great deal about us.
It is my job to know a great deal about you, he says. And it's your job to not know a great deal about me.
She says, I dislike that position of disadvantage.
He says, the more you know about me, the more dangerous of a position you'd be in.
And we're not in danger now, having come here, she says.
By me? Oh, absolutely not. He says, no, I view you as valuable allies. He's got the brightest blue eyes.
Interesting.
And a disarming smile.
Yeah. She probably finds herself smiling back at it without intending to, because Celine tends to be very empathic, but internally she's wary.
He does radiate psionics there. Madrimlian.
Okay.
Oh, and
Powerful.
Quill comes in and lands on your shoulder, Madrimlian.
Yep. Just reach up and scratches under his beak nonchalantly.
Diane Stretch gets crew to secure all unneeded equipment. Wouldn't want it getting in the way. This is only a drill, and I can't be bothered with any injuries right now. Next drill, repelling borders and CQB skills. Perfect. Daz makes sure to nudge Lieutenant Mad to stand behind the captain, then stands at Lieutenant Mad's back looking at the rest of the room. Yep.
Yep.
Barbarossa listens carefully and proceeds to make sure all the stuff the bosun mentioned, trying to get everything down with some good tight knots. Perfect.
Yep.
She says, so to what do we owe the pleasure of this meeting? She says.
Mostly I just wanted to meet you all.
All
Just
right.
to be honest with you. He says you're the bug squad.
Is that what they call us? She says.
He says, well, they call you the crew of the Voidchaser.
That's true, she says. And yes, we are the
Under-
bug squad, I suppose, she says.
Under Captain Celine Wintermist.
Nods.
He glares at the words bug squad.
Yeah.
He goes, I don't mean any disrespect or anything there, Lieutenant Arian.
I prefer Armored Response Corps, but nobody wants to call us ARCs.
Armored Response Corps. I like it.
I do think it has
I like
a nice
it.
ring,
I'll spread it.
says Celine.
I think it has a nice ring to it, too. He says,
Yeah.
ARCs.
Daz poorly muffles a snort. There is obviously more.
Oh, yeah.
Quill makes it sound like smacking lips at Bug. Bug.
So mostly I wanted to meet you, but I wanted to make an offer to you.
All right.
He says, as you might guess, I can't pass the background check to get a bug suit.
No, of course not, she says.
The gnome simply won't sell me one. He says, but I do have access to Fomorian technology.
She says, I don't suppose you would care to share with me how you had access to it?
He says, through long contacts and otherwise shady dealings. It's probably best you don't know how I have contact.
All right.
He goes, but I'm willing to make a trade. I simply want a bug suit that I can reverse engineer for my guards. He says, an arc suit. We'll call them arc suits. And I'm willing to trade you a platoon's worth of Goblin air rifles. Along with the air compressor and specifications on how to make more ammunition.
She says what you're asking for is distinctly forbidden in the Articles of War and is a potentially hanging offense, she says.
Absolutely, which is why we're having this conversation here and not above board. He says, I realize what I'm asking of you. I'm not... That's why I'm offering to compensate you well for it.
Captain, a moment.
Of course. Excuse us a moment, she says.
Absolutely.
Yep, heads off with Arian.
He turns to his drink.
Arian reaches into his shirt, pulls out 2 of the tinfoil hats, sticks one on her head and one on his head.
Right.
Yeah, because Majima would have nudged them.
Yep, they come back with tinfoil hats on their heads.
Now, once we're around the corner and out of sight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Majima was about to drop conceal thoughts on everybody anyway.
Okay.
Anyway.
So Madrimian's eyes flash for a brief moment. Right, and the grandfather raises an eyebrow and looks at you.
That's why I just wanted to do the tin hats, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we get around the corner, I'll look at Celine and go, he's asking for a lot.
Yep.
I don't know where you're at on this.
Where are you at?
It would increase the danger of the Underworld's enforcers. So I think that if you really want to do this and get access to that technology, that we have.
You
cut out, Chris.
Oh, sorry. I would suggest that we ask for 10% of his output. 1 out of every 10 suits he builds goes directly to the Marine Corps.
Interesting, she says. You think we should go for it then?
I'm not going to make that call, ma'am. This is much more of an Imperial Princess decision than, a Lieutenant of the Marines decision. But I think you could probably, if something happened, you could probably cover yourself at least some by trying to get, resources for the military out of
it. Frankly, I don't like it, she says. I'm not just worried about the Articles of War. This all feels very off to me somehow, she says. I mean, I don't know about dealing with thieves' guilds, but these people obviously have some goblin connections, she says.
Yeah, and I was going to say, think about where they could wind up if he has connections coming from the goblins. They could be going back the other way, too.
Exactly my point.
So we could be handing the bug suits right over to the Fomorians.
Yes, she says. And I don't think I can do that, she says.
So I just was offering that if you were leaning towards it, that maybe you could cover yourself by getting some resources. But
actually, thank you for this conversation. I was leaning towards not, and now I think I'm pretty firmly convinced that that's the best course, she says. We're not going to do it.
I think that's probably the safer course by far, ma'am.
She says, I'm not afraid of risk, Arian, but...
There's risk, and then there's, unmitigated risk.
This feels suicidal, she says. I don't think so. She says, the last thing we need are the Fomorians to get their hands on bug suits. Even if it means we don't get our hands on air rifles.
I don't think he's going to quit. So then the question becomes that he loosens the swords in his sheaths. Do we really want him walking away from here?
Crowley will walk up over to Arian and say, buckle those back up. I'm telling you, these are not the people you want to try that with. I'm just telling you now. Believe me.
He's probably right. He says, I guess we'll see how persistent he gets.
Very well.
This man is far more connected than you could possibly imagine.
I'm not worried about
If he
it.
wants to get his hands on a bug suit, he's going about it very, very graciously. He could already have one if he chose.
And that's why I was saying maybe it's a threat that needs to be eliminated.
That I understand too, but you don't understand the can of worms you would be opening by doing so.
And it could also be a test to see if we're willing to deal honorably, she says. So let's give it a try. We have our own underworld connections now, she says.
Well,
And a voice in your head, Celine says, and overworld connections. Sounds like your father.
She smiles. Yeah, we're good, she says. She heads back in, or she takes off the hat. She heads back in and she sits down and she says, I'm very sorry, grandfather. I don't think we can agree to this bargain.
Oh, he says, that disappoints me. He says,
she says, I simply cannot take the risk that Fomorian forces could get their hands on bug suits.
his Fomorian forces are going to get their hands on bug suits.
Yes, they will, but they won't get them from me, she says.
On the other hand, since you would get your hands on their technology.
She nods. She says, I don't think it's worth the trade. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to lend you a platoon's worth of air rifles.
And in return, you want?
You to reconsider. Since when you see how useful they are. Makes sense? And besides, you can use them in the upcoming battle, I'm sure.
And if I say no after that, she says.
Since I'll renegotiate. Since I'm not used to people saying no to me, he says, but he says, I think I can get past it.
Thank you for the hail hydrate. Hail hydrate.
Gosh dang it. I'll have to go down and get a hydrate.
Excuse me.
Hail hydrate stretch.
Yeah.
She says, all right, I can honestly say that I will reconsider, she says, but I'm not saying yes.
I don't expect it. He says, if you gave in that easily, you would hardly be worth your name, would you? He says, your mother has got a reputation for her hard head.
Justified, she says. Absolutely.
Yes. Yes. I know her quite well.
Do you? She says.
Of course. Since I was trained in Cimarron University.
Oh. Well, that's nice, she says. I wish I had more time for studies there, actually, she says.
Yes, it's a luxury that few of us can afford in these day and age. I wish I had more time for more studies there, too.
Fair enough, she says.
He says, I admire you, Miss Wintermist.
How is that? She says.
Yes. There are few who have come in here who have ever said no to me. There's fewer still who have walked out, and less than that who have gone with my respect.
She says, I recognize that there's always going to be a need for an underworld element.
Yes.
She says, and as Lieutenant Mithrathis pointed out to me, Mithrathis, say it right, just because you may not necessarily agree with the laws as they stand in other matters doesn't mean that you're not interested in defending Evergleam, she says.
I am.
I believe you.
Unfortunately, I'm afraid that Evergleam is probably going to be destroyed.
Do you really think so?
If my intelligence is correct, he says, they're coming with a lot bigger force than you're able to amass here.
She says, I don't suppose you'd care to share with me where you get this information and how much of a greater force, would you?
He says, I don't know for certain. I can promise you make this trade with me and I can get the goblins not to fight.
Interesting, she says.
Does that sweeten the pot?
Yeah, she's thinking about it. You're a friend to the goblins, I take it, she says.
Of course I am, he says.
I don't have anything against the goblins, she says.
I'm a friend to all oppressed underclasses.
She nods.
That's why I like the she and the Nunnehi. That's why I prefer to deal with them. Changelings, Uruk, half-orcs.
Nods. She says, yes, I share your sentiments there, she says. Can I have some time to think about it?
Of course.
Thank you.
I wouldn't think too long, though.
No, there is a bit of a time limit, isn't there? She says.
Yes. Yes. I would invite you all to join me in drink, but I take it that you're more interested in going back to your ship and discussing what's happened.
You're right, she says.
Then I will not be offended.
I appreciate that. Thank you, she says.
He smiles. He says, do think about it, Captain.
I will, she says. Extends her hand to him.
Guns delivered.
Sorry, I missed that.
He takes your hand. His handshake is firm but not strong.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Right? It's not like you're dealing with a strong individual, but
more like a determined one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine he finds the same.
He says, I'll have the guns delivered.
Thank you, she says. I do appreciate that.
Not a problem.
Good afternoon to you then, sir, she says.
Yes. And to you, Captain and crew. Says.
Crowley says, Captain.
Crowley says,
Yes, Crowley?
If I might take a moment, I'll catch up with you guys. in a couple moments, I'd like to speak to Grandfather a couple more moments, if that's all right with you.
Without us present?
Yes, please.
Can I leave Daz with you at least?
I won't be but a moment. Literally 3 minutes. I will be right behind you.
We'll be outside the door, she says.
Okay.
The girl will show you back out, says, oh, and he tosses her a gold coin. Thank you, she says, and your debt is clear. Thank you, she says. This way, guys.
Yep, follows her out.
Yeah, she follows you up to the bar where she says, you might as well get a drink here if you're going to wait for your friend or whatever.
Good idea, she says. Order something.
Yeah. They got beer, they got wine, they got spirits.
I'm in the Marines now. We'll have a beer.
Okay. It is not very good beer, but anyways.
I'm in the Marines. It's beer.
Yeah. Grandfather smiles at you after they leave. Oh, somebody was saying something?
Arian takes careful note of their route and everything on the way out of the
basement.
Yeah.
Yep. It doesn't look like she's trying to confuse you at all.
No, I'm trying to remember for later in case I have to bring a battalion back.
Yep, that's right. Quill orders 1/16 of a whiskey shot.
Okay. Bartender pours a drop into a shot glass and hands it to the bird. In the meantime, the grandfather looks at Crowley and he says, Crowley, what can I do for you?
I have a question of you, Aaron, before I get into this conversation with Grandfather.
Sure.
How much is a trade bar worth?
Trade bar? 100 gold.
A gold trade bar is worth 100 gold. A silver trade bar is worth 100 silver, etc.
Okay, excellent.
And they weigh 2 pounds, approximately.
I'll sit up beside Grandfather at the bar there, and I'll discreetly reach into my backpack and pull out 10 trade bars, 10 gold trade bars.
Okay.
And hand it over and tell them we're the syndicate.
And
I'll smile and I'll make my leave.
Yeah. He scoops it into his belt pouch. Okay.
And then I'll meet up with the crew and be on our way.
Yeah, have a drink and be on your way. So, later on in the evening, a bunch of humans.
First, let's discuss this, shall we?
Okay.
Time, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Magpie said, wow, it's your mom's ex. Yeah, conversation going on in the background here. After drilling the crew hard for a while, calls them to a stop, says, this is from our bosun, right, for a break, gets water and what fruit is available brought out for them, and myself got to keep healthy and hydrated. Yep. Very important one. Quill says softly, hail hydrate. I caught all of Daz's side commentary. I'm going to take it that Celine is reading Daz's body language, and in part this is influencing her decisions about things, right? Because I was paying attention to that, and, you know, she's like, this is good, this is not good, you know. That's why she's there, is to let her know, so She's paying attention and following the advice that Daz is giving her. Right. Barbarossa reveals his own flask, drinking some of his homemade, good old honest black gnomish coffee, which smells alchemically strong. Turns to the bosun and smiles. Want some? It's pretty friggin' good. The bosun replies, as long as you're fit for service, nodding to said flask. I'll say nothing, but don't dehydrate yourself. Thanks for the offer, but I'm good. I need hydration right now. Barbarossa shrugs and drinks more of his strong coffee before wiping his mouth, going back to train with another crew member, managing to duck and dodge before doing a cheeky leg strike and knocking him back and catching him by his neck bandana. Word of advice, young'un, watch your feet. Also, Daz was lurking near the door to watch Crowley's back, which is cool, and also suggested to Madrimlian would he settle for a spin dizzy amulet instead. Did what I think happened just happen? What did you think happened there, Magpie? Celine agreed to reconsider the offer.
No, he's talking about Crowley giving tithes to this. And
yep, that's what happened. Hi, Moon. No problem. Moon says, I'm not feeling really great today, so I'm here, but not paying attention, really.
Okay, Moon.
Oh, and is Lieutenant Mad muted is the question.
Yeah,
right?
I was. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yes, Lieutenant Mad would have shaken his head to Daz when she asked quietly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'll have their own method of making those.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we go out and go back to the wardroom, of course. And Celine says, what do you think?
No. We can't. Psionics were involved in that little discussion.
She nods. You were protecting us, though, she says.
I was. I got a raised eyebrow.
Well, he's trained at Sibirid University. You don't think he knows psionics? He might not know them, but he knows of them.
Oh, he was radiating.
Yeah, but your detect psionic detects magic, too.
Yeah.
It doesn't differentiate.
She says, I still don't like this.
Nah, I don't like it either. It's true, though.
She says, on the other hand, the prospect of getting the goblins to not fight might be worth it, she says. The only question is, can he really deliver that?
I believe he can, says Crowley.
What makes you think so, Crowley? You see, I get the subtle signals here, but we don't really have any confirmation of who this guy is.
No, but knowing even a slight bit of how he's connected to these weapons and how he can get them for us tells me that he is well enough connected that this is something that he could make happen.
What
if
happens?
He can get a platoon's worth of these weapons without anyone questioning where they're going, tells me that he has that power.
Do you concur, Daz?
No, while we're waiting for Daz, Arian will say, you know, he's probably right. They will eventually get their hands on the books, or on the books. It'll happen. You know, they'll capture one somewhere, or the gnomes will sell one off to somebody who'll sell one off to somebody who'll sell one off to this guy anyway. So he's undoubtedly right about that. And if he is as well connected as Crowley says on the other side, he could very much so be a two-edged sword. If he's connected enough on the other side to get these things and connected enough on our side to get our things, and he's, you know, I'm not going to say immoral, but mercenary enough to sell him to both sides, then he could represent a pretty big threat, which is why I was willing to make the suggestion that maybe he didn't need to walk out of there.
Nods.
I think that might
I don't
have
know. I
been a
like them,
bigger fight
says
than we could have
Ravel.
handled, says Von Ben.
What was that from Von Ben?
I said I think that might have been a bigger fight than we could have handled, Arian. If it's an inevitability anyways, we could save a lot of lives here.
It's a toss-up, she says. The thing about it, okay, the fact is, whenever a new form of technology in war is developed, the counter technology is almost always developed immediately, right? And it's because, yes, we work very hard to get our hands on the other side's technology. It's sensible in war. Archaeology, too, if you can, she says. So, yeah, it is inevitable. The question is, how quickly? If they get it now, it could be disastrous for the war overall. On the other hand, it's not like Mithril is free, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, the prospect of saving a lot of lives is a good idea. They use a lot of goblins. Having them stand out would be great. I don't know what happens to the goblins after that, though. Do they get shot by the orcs?
Good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know anything about how that works, Dad? You guys were pretty friendly with a bunch of goblins there. God damn it, I wish we hadn't handed over our prisoners.
What Daz was asked about is, Crowley believes this guy does have the power to do what he says he can do, which is to prevent the goblins from fighting. Does Dazzlecat concur that this is something that is probably within his power to do? Or is he pulling bullshit, basically? Yeah, Daz says, I would not take the deal, because then whichever cartel he is into will get serious hooks into you, Captain, unless you finesse the trade to not involve you at all. Good point.
Yeah,
she
I'm
says.
with you there, says Ravel. Whatever it is, when we trade this thing, it should be somebody like Crowley doing the trading, or me, or somebody, well, not me because I'm connected to you, but
Right.
Captain,
Yes.
Crowley says, it sounds to me like we need, if it were to come out, we need a scapegoat.
Okay, she says.
If you need a name to protect the rest of the crew, you can put it on me.
I dislike that very much, she says.
No, Crowley, we
Yes,
can't.
but
No, we
no,
can't.
but hear me out. I'm not saying that it has to happen, but in the event that it's found out that we were the source of the bug suit, I've already lived in exile. I know what it's like, Madrimlian, okay? Yes, it sucks, but you know what? It's not something that's foreign to me. I don't want to have to do it, and I'm not saying it's going to happen. But in the event, a contingency plan in place that we know and we're all going to follow is better than no plan at all. And now having these weapons are going to turn the tide in our favor right now at this wormhole.
We don't know that for sure.
No, we don't know for sure. And Crowley, do you know what the punishment for treason is during a time of war?
No, this isn't treason, she says.
No.
Not if the deal is that the goblins won't fight.
Right.
That's diplomacy, she says.
There's an easy way to answer this question, ma'am.
Okay.
Ask your dad.
What do you think, Dad? She says.
What do I think? I think he's got the authority to do it.
Is this in her head, or does he appear?
No, he just says it out loud in the air.
Okay, she says. You agree then do you know who this guy is?
Not for certain, but I have a pretty good idea. He's a student of Selborn's.
Okay.
Adrimman was right, he's highly psionic.
Okay, do they know Selgorn's secret? I thought they were told back when.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that explains it. Selgorn is a goblin, she says.
Right.
Not that that's broadly known, of course, and not that we're going to tell anyone this. Duly noted, Dazzlecat. Dazzlecat says, you can put it on me, Captain. There are 6 with my name.
And we are back in Carthan space, so...
No, we're not.
No, we're not. We're in Talasian space.
Right, we're in Talasian space.
She says, but the thing is, we do have the authority to make this decision.
Mm-hmm.
Captain, I have an idea.
Okay.
Now, Grandfather said that he wants them for his guard, correct?
That's what he said, yep.
Please. So, if he's... Why not ask him how many guard he has? Because if he... And made the stipulation that after he's got his guard suited up for protecting him and his space, he puts the design no further.
We could. I think he would probably agree. Or at least if he wouldn't agree, he would tell us that he's not going to agree to that. She says.
Yes, in that way I believe him to be honorable.
If he's a student of Selgorn's, then he knows perfectly well who we are. And that means he knows that we also have connections that he doesn't want to fuck with, she says.
Yes, we are... Well, you are equally as power... Yes,
Crowley.
Captain, we. Yes, Captain, we. But you in particular, and Yasma, and Bonvin, currently are as powerful and connected as he is. Maybe on different kind of wavelengths, but
and maybe not,
I would say
she
equally
says.
connected.
I'm pretty sure that my dad's friend would take great exception to his children coming to harm.
Well, there we go.
So yes, we are dealing with from a position of greater strength than we initially may have thought.
Mm-hmm. That's true. If he knows who you are, he knows what Selgorn would think of something happening to you.
And quite frankly, Captain, I wouldn't be surprised if the goblins are only working with the Fomorians because they fear them. Because they're huge and brutish.
Nods.
And if you don't do as they say, they squish you. Take this from a small guy. Come on now.
I get you.
Hear us.
Yeah, I hear that, says Ruvel.
She says, I accepted the loan because I knew that if nothing else, we could get one into the hands of an R&D person, she says.
Yeah, too bad we don't have Lurk around at the moment.
Yes, it is too bad, she says.
I have an idea.
All right.
The one we get into an R&D person is the person we get the bug suit from for the trade.
Why?
Because then we know it's a goblin tech, for one.
Mm-hmm.
Which means it'll be more reliable than elven tech, I'm sorry to say it, for this type of thing.
Elven tech is not. We're good at archaeology. We're not as good at tech. That's why, the gnomes are a very important part of the Avalonian forces, she says.
Right.
Yep.
And often undervalued for the contribution, too, she says.
Which will give them a means to help the war effort and make some money.
I have to admit that this upcoming battle does concern me deeply, she says. And anything we can do to turn the tide in our favor is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
I got a bad feeling about this battle, says Xerxes.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure 40 air rifles are going to do it.
No.
Yeah,
No, they
asking
won't.
for more.
Well,
and then the bargain would be more, she says.
And also, there's the fact that we have a very limited amount of time, and I don't care who you put them in the hands of. They're going to need time to train, and
they're going to have to train on it yet.
So I'm not sure it's going to make a huge difference in this battle. Yes,
but not having the goblins fight might, she says.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on them being able to pull that off before this fleet gets here. I think that's more of a long-term offer.
Unless he has a way to signal the goblins.
He did make it specific. He said this battle. He was very specific.
He did. Yes, which means he has a way to signal the goblins to let them know to stand down.
Well, one thing we happen to know about the goblins that I'm not sure Elven Command does. Star Command is probably unaware. She says the goblins are entirely governed by their cartels. They said so.
Yep.
And that's how their government works. It's more than just, an underworld membership. It's actually how they're...
It's an actual kleptocracy.
Yeah. And therefore...
Deals are deals.
What's that?
I said, and deals are deals with them.
Which means they probably want to get their hands on the bug suits just as much as our friend does.
Of course they do. The thing is, it's going to be... From what I can see... So I can see, as far as I can see, she says, those air rifles don't look like they're made with a lot of exotic material. Mithril is expensive. In other words, we'd be able to supply the air rifles likely more quickly and more broadly than they would be able to get their hands on a bug suit, because you can't do it without the mithril.
Or the star metal.
And mithril is hard to forge.
Yeah, and the star metal. That's the other thing. Yes, and it's hard to forge. You have to have particular skills.
Hang on. Oh, where the hell's Arden? I need his sketchbook.
For what?
Well, when we first had our hands on it, Arden and Lurik were working on reverse engineering it. So they were both making sketches and notes and sharing them between each other.
Yep.
Which means the materials will be in his notebook.
No. Fucking goblins showed up and told Lurik and Arden in no uncertain terms to give them everything or they would kill them.
Oh.
And took everything.
Yeah.
So they ripped the pages out of Arden's book, did they?
They did.
Books. Yep.
Excellent. We can still get the information. If Arden hasn't written over it.
Pages are ripped out. He can't write over it.
The impression of the pen through the paper.
You could get the last page of information and that would be all.
Yeah.
Well, it would be a place to start. And would almost certainly save the R&D guys a little bit of time. It's not going to help this battle.
I wonder
Arian is absolutely right about that, she says.
Yeah, the air rifles are not going to help this battle. No, that's true. But
I
getting
wonder,
the goblins to stand off this battle might.
I wonder.
Would a make whole bring those pages back?
It
yeah,
might.
but not with writing on them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Well, you know what? I've got to admit that I am leaning towards a yes at this point. She says, now that I've rethought this isn't a criminal underworld deal being made with some random Marines. This is...
Sorry, Captain.
No, go ahead, she says.
This is a diplomatic parlay.
Yeah, she says, this is one government dealing with another government. She says it's not governmental diplomacy as we understand it, but it's governmental diplomacy as goblins understand it.
And it's the goblins we're dealing with, not the orcs.
Yes, and therefore not Fomorian command.
Right.
Which also gives us the potential of favorably disposed future, well, if not allies, at least less enemies.
Yeah.
Yes. I'd agree with that, to this.
Okay, I'd like to hear everyone's opinion now. What do you think? I want your honest opinion, and that means everybody. That means you, Daz. That means you, Nimlin, everybody.
Well, my honest opinion is that if it's going to save lives on both sides, fine, because the more lives we save on their side, the more lives we can save on our side, because that's less people fighting on their side.
There is the risk that this will cost more lives in the long term, she says.
In the long term, yes.
So we do have to take that into consideration. We don't know what the results of that will be.
Unfortunately, we never know the results of any decisions we make until afterwards.
Yeah, that's true, she says. We just have to be aware of it in our decision making.
Thought you were psychic.
You agree?
I'm psychic. I'm not clairvoyant.
You know what? You're right. Look. Good idea, Von Vin.
She says, looking at her sister.
Yeah, she'll scry it. Augury. Is this a good idea? That's a yes or no question. Should we do this? Is this in our best interest?
Roll percentile dice.
You bet.
You're 9th level or 10th?
What level did we just make, guys?
As far as I know, we're still 9th level.
Can we just make a level?
Chat crew did.
Ah.
No.
And there was supposed to be a raffle for this one because the chat crew. Level.
We made a level too because we had a raffle recently. We recently had a raffle.
Yeah, we're at 10 now.
Yeah.
No, then I am.
That's where we went up to 9th.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, percentile dice. I just have to find another D10 in here somewhere. I know there is one. Oh, what am I doing? I've got like fancy dice.
I said, what are you doing? Grab Alex dice.
$79.
79?
Yeah.
Wheel and woe.
Uh-huh.
Right. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Got it.
Yep, pretty much.
So the Magic 8 Ball says the answer is unclear.
Yes.
Well, that was totally helpful, says Rovel.
I know, right? There's a question in the chat for
Thank
you,
you,
dear.
Arian Rod. Question.
Question in the chat for you, honey?
Yeah, I'm just reading it.
Okay.
No, this is a safe area. Stretch, your ship is in the Imperial Palace. There are royal guard. There are guys riding around on Pegasi, right? You know, there are, yeah. Of course, that girl is wandering around on the deck now because nobody's told her to do anything.
Yep.
She has nowhere to go.
Well, we did offer her a job. See if she's willing to accept it now.
Daz suggests we sweeten the deal by several crates full of a sweet food with the suit. What is a sweet food we could gift by the crate freely to the goblins, meaning they will consider it an obligation that does not include the current deal? Good thinking. Someone remembered what she learned about the goblins. Nimmelin has been doing stuff. Okay, Quill is looking for people suspiciously loitering on the deck. Nimmelin suggested they may know someone who would be willing to be a scapegoat for a lot of moolah. So says Quill. Quill and I may know someone to do it, though, if you want to obscure the origin. This isn't really my area of expertise, though.
Well,
As the voice of law and order in the party, apparently.
I think, says Vondon, what we're looking at is either short-term greater loss of life, or in the longer term a loss of life as a result of the decision.
Okay, Arian was saying as well.
Save lives today or tomorrow.
Yep, duly noted. Arian was saying.
As a nod to my lawful neutral nature, which means pretty much go law. Arian will point out that if this guy is the head of the Thieves Guild here, as seems to be the case, and has ties to the syndicates or a syndicate, then we would be theoretically strengthening his position within the underworld and basically giving an enemy government even further penetration into our society.
That's a good point, too, says Celine.
I mean, what are the odds that they're going to be able to replicate enough of these, so, as Daz is saying, in a big enough volume to make an impact in the war?
The war, absolutely, says Rovel.
We have.
We did.
Yeah, we have what, 15 of them?
We don't have a lot of them.
20.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but there are more. The gnomes have a bunch.
That is true.
No, if we make this trade, I guarantee, says Ruavel, that we'll be seeing bug-suited goblins by the end of the war.
Yeah, there's no question about it, she says. I guess I want to know, Dad, would you make this trade?
I don't know. Knowing who you're dealing with, I might. He didn't ask me, though.
Just because we're young and stupid, and he knows that, she says.
Yes, he also knows that I take a direct interest in whatever he asks you. He says.
This clearly you did, she says, which I appreciate.
Exactly. Exactly. So, Ruvel's right. They will reverse engineer them. They do have a stockpile of mithril in the Empire. He says, that I'm aware of.
Right.
Says, not as big a stockpile of star metal, but enough that they could do it.
Right.
They do mint coins out of star metal.
Fair enough. Well, any spacefaring government would be foolish not to have a stockpile. It's true.
Right. So, on the other hand, he says, you've seen this fleet. How many of them are goblins?
More of them than there are orcs. That I know, she says.
So, if the goblins won't fight this fight, you might stand a chance. Knowing who you're dealing with, I'd probably make the deal, but that's just me. I know who you're dealing with.
Who are we dealing with, Dad?
Burden Meteor Strike.
Okay. Meteor Strike, I've heard that name, the cartel that we were dealing with.
The Meteors Cartel, yes, the head of the Dragon Syndicate.
Oh, Jesus.
Sparkles!
It's cute.
He's a transmographist.
What's that? A transmographist?
He changes for shape.
Ah. He's a goblin.
He's very much a Bartor, yes, oh yes. He says, interesting fellow. He says, nice. He says, not at all evil.
What are the odds then that we could get the Dragon Syndicate to stand out entirely?
Of the war?
Yes.
I doubt it. But you can probably continue to make deals with them to continue to limit their involvement.
If we could get the Dragon Syndicate to stand out of the war, it would definitely be worth the trade, she says.
Yes, it would.
And it would also make it much less likely that these things would get into the hands of the enemy. A neutral power is different.
Mm-hmm. Because he has no love of elves, I'll tell you that, but he has no love lost of elves either.
Right. Does anybody else have an opinion to offer? She says.
I was sort of leaning towards let's make the trade, says Fonbin.
Okay.
Because they're eventually going to do this thing anyways, and in the meantime we save lives on both sides. And that can never be a bad thing.
She nods. Ruvel, your thoughts?
Ruvel says, I don't know. He says, it's above my pay grade.
She looks at him impatiently.
What? He says, we're not married yet.
She gives him a longer and harder look. If that was a proposal, it was the shittiest one I've ever heard in my life, she says.
He says, I don't know. Yeah, we'll save a lot of lives.
It's my problem. I'm equally torn, she says. I do recognize that there are long-term damages of dealing with people who are into making criminal deals.
Hmm.
Because then they come at you with another devil's
And yet
bargain.
that's
And another one, she says. Right.
Is this a devil's bargain?
This is part of the concern, isn't it, Arian?
Yes, the deeper they get their claws into more and more high-ranking people, the more influence they'll have within our society.
Oh, I'm totally with. It says Selnar that you should get a third party to do the deal, so that you 3 girls can at least have your hands washed a bit. Plausible deniability and all that.
I seriously dislike that whole concept, she says.
It's necessary.
Add lots of sweet foods, says Daz. Lots of foods, and don't warn them we are bringing the foods. Gifted as a true surprise will hold the greatest merit. Good point.
Yep.
Magpie says, or Nimlin says, hesitates. If you do it now, it's a semi-controlled situation, a better idea of the timeline of events, if you will. They will get it eventually. Are the other aspects worth the risk?
Besides, Captain, says Crowley, who better to make a deal with the devil than the devil's child himself?
If you feel that way, says Daz, call it a clandestine operation under the command of Lieutenant Mad.
Yeah, Black Ops.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I
What
could
you
set it
say
up.
is, I don't want to know about this, Madrimland.
And then what I said to my subordinate is, I don't want to know about the Dazzler Cat.
Give it to Crowley. He's the one with the most experience.
Yeah, but have Daz as his backup anyway.
Yeah. And we don't want to know about it.
Right.
How often have you said that, Dad?
This is many times. So sometimes it's necessary in governmental dealings. This is, you gotta have people that can do what you can't.
Yeah.
The key is deciding which I'm going to be able to live with. If I'm wrong, she says. If we're wrong, we don't make this deal. And things are slaughtered. Are we ever going to forgive ourselves? She says, if we're wrong and we make this deal and we're slaughtered, are we ever going to be able to forgive ourselves?
and
The other
since
side of that
if we're
coin
wrong
is
and we make the deal, and people get slaughtered, we'll know we at least tried.
That's true.
Arian,
But
you were
the-
saying?
but the other side of that coin is if we lose the damn war
Yep.
and we make this deal, will we ever be able to forgive ourselves?
Yeah. That's my point.
Really think that the bug suits could turn the tide of a war?
Look what basically 6 or 7 of us have managed.
Yeah, 10 of us or so, but yeah.
Can you imagine what
100?
100
1,000?
or 1,000 of, say, your clan champions could do with the same thing?
Well, I don't think there is 1,000 clan champions, but you know, I'm thinking that, you know, having them with 100 bug suits would be, you know, a pain in the ass. But we already have tactics to defend against them.
We've been practicing ourselves, that's true.
Right. So we've been
Also,
figuring out what our weaknesses are.
Yeah. Like the fact that we can't see out the back of our head.
Oh, Well,
that's normal.
I'm going to revert to being a sergeant here for a second.
Okay.
And do you really think the Mithril's going to get it through their thick heads in time?
That's true.
That they need to change things?
You're not wrong there.
You're not wrong there. Right. But on the other hand, you think that the whatever they call them, mithrilish, on the other side is going to get it through their heads and how to use them in short enough order. Militaries don't like experimental technology.
Yeah, but they're much more chaotic and less rigid than we are when it comes to those type of things, and we've certainly been giving them an education.
True.
And we changed our tactics then.
There's only so much you can do with tactics. I mean, a lot of our tactics are determined by the technology. I mean, there's only so many ways to go on board a ship with bug suits. There's only so many ways to move through space using the bug suits. I mean, we know we're at a disadvantage in terms of overall speed. We can't get up to,
interstellar speeds.
So there are very much small unit tactics.
Yep.
But small unit tactics can shift the balance of things much more than you would assume from looking at a table of, operations and equipment.
Okay, run this game for a couple minutes there, Sable, while you guys discuss this. I gotta use the bathroom.
I feel that we're kind of reaching a point where I'm not sure what to do at this point, right?
Okay, well.
Yeah, go ahead. It's just, I'm not sure there's much to discuss at the moment, right? Like, I feel like we've kind of all talked around the circles, and I'm still not sure how Celine would react.
So it's one of those moments, ma'am. It's a crapper get off the pot moment.
Yeah.
And as far as how to counter our tactics, I've been thinking about that. But there's only so much you can do unless every ship has their own bug suits to counter the enemy's bug suits, right?
Well, one thing we can do is spread the word to look down. Always watch your keel.
Well, my suggestion would be that the fleet goes in flipped. Half the ship's up, half the ship's down. I don't understand this whole
Yeah, you're right. That seems silly that we maintain the same orientation, doesn't it?
I mean, in space, there's no up or down.
I mean, mostly we do that for the sake of convenience with interacting with each other, but you're right. There's nothing stopping us from facing our decks to one another as we're traveling through the stars, in which case it becomes much less easy to attack us or to attack with a bug suit because we're always watching each other's keels.
That's true. I mean, even if we flew in formation, we could go one ship up, one ship down, one ship up, one ship down. So all you look across, all you see is a...
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That makes a lot of sense. I don't know why we don't do that. Good thinking, she says. Good one. Nods to Arian. Yes, you're absolutely right. There's nothing stopping us from doing that. Down is where we say it is.
Right.
Because we're not birds or fish.
Well, that's a good
point. We
point.
tend to think three-dimensional super well.
Yeah, but even birds and fish maintain their orientation.
Not always.
That's a... So if we can get a line of ships here before the fleet arrives, we can... Technically, aren't we the most senior ship at the moment?
Uh-huh.
Means we have command of the tactics.
Why don't we have a look at these air rifles before we make a firm decision?
That's true.
Let's see if we think that they would make a big difference.
I'd say put one in the hands of Mr. Blackfingers.
Oh, yes.
See what he can do
We
with
do
it.
have a gnomish alchemist.
Right.
Good
Which means
point.
he might be able. He's a gunslinger, and he might be able to actually reverse engineer this.
And I wouldn't count on us being the senior ship president. I'm sure there's more than one dreadnought and many more men of wars
Yeah,
in
true.
the Talasian fleet than
Fathers. Says for
True. But we're the ones who have seen the battle. We're the ones who have seen combat. They haven't.
Yeah, that doesn't matter to the Mithril.
No, it does not, she says. We might be able to lean on our name and get some attention that way, but it's still mostly going to be regarded impatiently, in part because we are young and in part because we are not mithril. Senior mithril, anyway. I suppose I qualify as one of the mithril now, but I'm not senior mithril.
True. Doesn't His Excellency have some command in that as well, though?
Which excellency?
Xerxes' father.
That could make a difference in the Talasian forces.
Right.
Yes, I think he would listen to us. All right, so we're putting on our list that we need to have a tactics discussion with King, whatever his name was, which I've forgotten.
Yeah.
Xerxes' father.
Yeah, King Xerxes' father. That's it.
Yeah. Yes, I think he would take our thoughts on it seriously, she says. Well, let's see if these air rifles are worth it first.
London, but
What was that, Bonvin?
I said it won't make much difference in space, but it will once things hit atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah, once things hit atmosphere, we won't be able to maintain that orientation.
Of course, but that's neither here nor there, she says. I mean, that's an important point, but not for the upcoming battle, which is where our discussion was, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
The whole orientation thing is an anti-bug suit idea more than something that will be useful in a standard field engagement. I guess maybe it would disconcert the enemy and confuse them a little bit.
It might give us a element of surprise.
And gives us better vantage point to overcome the fog of war, too.
Maybe nicer firing arcs.
Yeah, good thinking, she says.
Very impressive, but
how fast on the helm are some of the smaller ships?
Good question. Which smaller ships, theirs or ours?
I'm thinking ours. Things like, say, Corvette and down. Are they fast enough we could spin them and fire multiple broadsides?
Right.
I don't know how fast they roll on the helm, given the fact that we're still using the airs and sails, right?
Right.
Oh, corkscrew.
That's what I'm saying. If you spin them on the long axis, if they're fast enough, you could theoretically get both broadsides off.
Good thinking.
But I don't know how fast on the helm a small ship is.
It depends who's piloting it.
I'm a Marine, not a Navy guy. So
She says piloting works on magical power. Basically, the caster who is in the seat is a battery as well as the director of the ship. The more energy they have, the faster the ship goes. So the more
right,
powerful a spellcaster they are, the faster they can make the ship go. Which should worry
maneuver,
you all about Mariama, by the way,
right.
she says.
But the maneuverability is given by the rigging, correct?
Yes, the maneuverability is limited by the structure of the ship and the capability of the crew.
Oh, which means our rigging is better designed for this. We have Gus. He
Correct.
can adjust as he goes.
Okay, I see a bunch of comments in chat here as well. I see, yeah, um,
Yes, Magpie, we do have a plant room. It's called our grove.
we generally call it the garden actually, but it's there,
Yeah.
yes. Magpie says, worries about being recruited into Black Ops, unsure if that'd be a good thing or not. Daz suggested, okay, time for Crowley, me, and Lieutenant Mad to leave for plausible deniability. And then she said, no, our tactics are important. Yes, they are. Daz said, okay, why don't we right now start planning counter tactics, which is what sparked that discussion.
Yep.
Magpie said, have we considered mithril nets? Such a thing would be very expensive to produce.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron added a link in the chat. I don't know if Aaron is back yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seagoing ships often use just regular nets to prevent boarding. They rig nets over the deck.
Yeah.
Well, I suggested we have a look at these air rifles before we make any firm decisions. So,
Yeah.
but I do like the idea of, considering anti-bug suit tactics, because sooner or later they're either going to develop them or they're going to develop a counter of some kind.
Yep. And Daz was asking about her old ship.
Yeah, is her old ship possibly in port?
No, I don't think so.
Because this is one of the places that it tends to travel on its route.
Yeah, I can say that it might be. Sure.
So that's a
she
roll
should
for
make a
Sentinel,
luck
Daz?
roll.
Yeah, might be.
Okay, Daz, make a luck roll. Roll a percentage dice.
No, a d20.
Oh, a d20, pardon me. Roll a d20.
D20. No, I'm afraid not. Unless somebody wants to give her a reroll.
You know what? I think I will. Just because I like to see what happens if the ship is in the port. There you go, Daz.
Fourteen
Yes,
on that
they are
one.
in port. Yes, they are in port. So it turns out.
I guess there's one other question we should be asking. Maybe asking your dad. I don't know, but
What's that?
So we've alerted everyone in the Avalonian sphere.
Uh-huh.
Are there any other nations in Talasian space that we have close enough ties to call on mutual defense pacts or just enlightened self-interest that we could maybe call into, I don't know, humans or dwarves who have space-going vessels.
It's a good idea, and Xerxes' father would be the person to ask, she says.
Yeah.
If there are any such mutual defense pacts or alliances, then he is the one that has made them or has upheld them. So I do think we have to make a trip to Glimmerfell, she says.
Well, Xerxes reported to his father here.
Father was Xerxes.
Oh, okay, right. I forgot. Okay, yeah. She says, and we have to go talk to Xerxes' father. Okay, guys, I realize that it's a couple minutes early, but I think
it's a good place to call it.
Yeah, it's a good place to call it, and I think I'm toast, so...
Yep.
Well, the thing to remember is we also didn't take our break at the halfway point.
No, we didn't. It's true. It's been steady play from the beginning.
Okay.
It's been a good game session, and we're all probably jonesing a little.
Yes, that is the truth.
No breaks. Game.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, folks. Thank you.
I think it was a really productive game session.
Yeah, I think so too. That's really interesting. I rather enjoy the moral ambiguity of the situation. It's interesting.
I have one thing I want to play with Crowley.
Okay.
Hey, Aaron, could you turn up your volume just a little? It's been really hard to hear you all night.
Is that better?
Just a touch more if you could.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. Where is
In another universe where Nimmelin kept her mouth shut, Nimmelin wonders if she can borrow some space ghosts. All right, for those of you writing, we're getting towards quitting early, so bring out your words, please.
Hey,
there was
Aaron?
something you wanted to play out, you were saying, Aaron?
Yeah. I'm just turning up my mic. Trying to find the fucking thing to do it.
Yeah, Nimmelin, I think the best time to do it would be after the final battle stream. So I can relax a little bit.
Is that better?
Oh, wow, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, much.
Much better.
Okay, my microphone got turned down for some reason.
Thanks there, Rowan. I was about to do that, but that's excellent. Thank you for the posture check. I appreciate it, Barbarossa. He also did a posture check and a Hail Hydrate earlier, which we missed.
Oh, I got it, but yeah, sorry.
Stretch also said, bring out your words. Thank you, Stretch.
Yeah, as Crowley is alone on the docks, he catches a glimpse of somebody motioning towards him from behind a building. Small person.
Discreetly and nonchalantly make my way over that way.
Yeah. You go behind the building, you see there's a goblin standing there. He's blue.
Okay.
He says, "Grandfather wanted you to have this." And he holds out a case. He says, "Welcome to the syndicate."
Thank you very much. I'll take said case and put it in my backpack of holding.
Yep.
And I'm gonna head back to the ship, privately go into my bunk, and take a look at what's in the case.
In the case is an air pistol.
Neat.
Excellent.
That does kind of change things a bit, doesn't it?
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm falling asleep literally, so I'm sorry.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. It was an amazing game night. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it was a fun
Yeah.
one. I really enjoyed that one
It
too.
was. And Sable dinner is ready too.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah. Supper's
Jamie
ready.
made dinner. It's really good.
Oh, awesome.
Hey, Aaron,
Okay.
one more thing just before we go.
Mm-hmm.
I had a thought.
That must have been a strain.
I know, right?
Right.
The rounds that this thing fires.
Mm-hmm.
I had a thought, and I know it's gonna sound funny, but just hear me out.
Okay.
If someone casted a light spell on each of the rounds, as
Mhm.
they're firing out of the gun, would it almost not look like a laser pistol?
Yes.
Okay, just a thought. Thanks.
Yeah. It looks like tracer rounds more than a laser pistol, but
Yeah.
Okay, well, still pretty cool.
like a blaster pistol sort of thing. Yeah. Okay.
All right, awesome. So who's online that we can raid at the moment?
At the moment, we have Coffee Quills,
Uh-huh.
Kahuna,
Uh-huh.
Pride,
Uh-huh.
and
That's it.
yeah, that's about it.
Well, who shall we raid, my friends?
Well, since Pride and Kahuna are both running lobbies, and Coffee Quills is the only one who's actually active, my suggestion would be Coffee Quills.
Yeah, I'd suggest coffee.
All right. Sorry for the slightly early calling, but it's not too bad. It's 5 minutes to 9, and we started on time and did not take a break, so I guess you got the same amount of game you typically do. Yeah, this is kind of fun. Are you running with this for a while then, dear?
No, I'm going to be handing it back to you as soon as this scene is basically done.
Okay, that's that just tells me what I need to
Oh.
prepare for next game.
Yeah.
Heroes ready for gratuitous violence.
Yes, that's what I need to prepare is gratuitous violence.
Well, the
Yeah,
thing
you
was,
don't want to get violent with Geared and Meteor Swarm.
No.
no.
No, that's why Von Bin was like, no, I don't think that was a fight we could have won there.
Well, you could have won it.
Bad idea.
You could have won it. It would just have been bad.
Yeah, it would have
Yeah.
been bad overall. I mean, even Madrimley didn't want to get into a fight with him.
Yep.
Sometimes you have to trim back that bush of unlawfulness.
That unruly bush.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you start on that with the little guys, not the big guy.
The longest hair is the one that gets trimmed on the bush.
Exactly. And since when have we ever
Oh, we
started
lost
with the
Dawn and
little
Blake.
guy?
Oh, did they say goodbye already?
They
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, okay.
And since when have we ever started with the little guy?
Yeah, as Captain comes back on board, I smile, nod, and say, how did it go? Code for anything I need to know? She says, yes, expect a delivery of several crates in a few hours, she says.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I'll leave it at that and decide what more she's going to tell him tomorrow or next week. And remind me that I said that, Stretch, because I can't think of it clearly right now. I really have finally hit the wall, which is probably great. I really do need to sleep, so I am probably going to go and do that. But in the meantime, I will send you guys over to Coffee Quills, and we will run the end credits. Toy Soldiers Old School is game mastered by Sable Aradia and Aaron Ree, created by Diane Morrison. Audio and video provided by Zoom. Sound effects and ambience provided by Sirenscape. Music provided by White Sand. Check out his Patreon at patreon.com/whitesand. Character images by Hero Forge. Mapping software provided by Campaign Cartographer 3+, World Spinner, and Incarnate with adaptations in Adobe Photoshop. Gaming software provided by Fantasy Grounds, Hero Lab, and World Anvil. Check out our campaign at www.worldanvil.com/w/Toy Soldier Saga. Thanks for joining us for tonight's game, everybody. We will see you next week at the usual time. In the meantime, we're going over to raid Coffee Quills when you get there. If you came here for the game, feel free to shout prepare to be boarded. If you are playing Game of Tomes, it's still Game of Tomes. We're still happening, so shout your house mottos or for the tome, or may the words be ever in your favor. And Aaron will be back on Tuesday with Ask an Old GM at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yep. For us.
Final reporting stream for us. That'll be 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. in the UK and on UTC, and
5 a.m. Japanese
7 a.m. Australian Eastern Time. Anyway.
Yeah.
On Wednesday morning. Yeah. Have a great night, everyone, and thanks for joining us.
Yes, I got ready
You guys
this time.